Yes.
Leslie, are you in Georgia?
I am.
Oh.
Sounds right there. We hear you just fine.
Okay. Am I too loud?
No,
Okay.
and we have a
Leslie, are you in
map.
Georgia?
There you are. Okay,
Hi.
thank you for being on, but I was wrong about the dates and Linda's here too. So
That's
we are,
okay. That's okay. But it's the next two that you definitely need me.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, you always need me, right?
For the content, but we have quorum, but please don't go just because we have
I
quorum.
won't. No, I won't. I'll be here for a bit. We are going out to eat in about a half an hour or so. But
Oh,
well,
maybe
no, 45 minutes.
we'll see how short it can be here.
Yeah. So I think I'm having a little better weather than you guys are having, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Sounds like horrible. Sounds miserable.
Well, we had lots of power outages today.
Think it's good.
Yeah.
The tide was just phenomenal.
They had floats them up by the Lions hot dog shack. That parking lot actually had seaweed and stuff in it.
Well, I haven't been down, but I understand the crane was all made out of iron. It was floated away.
Did you see the photos that Wes made? Okay, all right, hang on. Okay, we have 1 minute if you want to be off.
Thank you.
Oh,
But
Linda, your hair looks really cute.
Oh, thank you.
I just noticed you had a cut.
I miss you sitting beside me here.
I know. I'm there in spirit.
okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order at 5 o'clock. Adjustments to the agenda?
None for me.
None. Oh, didn't
Theo was gonna do
Theo?
one, but she's not here for the item, so.
She's coming now.
Is she, there she comes?
Yeah.
Oh, there they come. Okay, so we know that she wanted to add. And it would go under new business, the repair, reuse, recycle.
Yeah.
So it's an adjustment, but it goes.
Adjustment goes either under old or new business. It doesn't go under adjustment.
Oh,
You could have, 16 of them. You need them, they're either old or new business.
okay.
Sit up here, guys.
The communication is much better. I mean, it's the Zoom, the owl never picks up people back there very well.
No. Yeah.
Okay,
It does look like an owl. so-
any other adjustments? Okay. Fire meeting minutes,
I didn't see any problem. I don't have I'll make a motion to
Somebody-
accept the minutes.
motion made and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And the first item of old business, we're going to skip because our potential candidate could not come tonight.
Right.
Now we're on to Forest Preserve, which is going to probably be brief too, because mainly what we need to do, last meeting, we agreed there'd be a working group and we need to make some dates for getting together, but we're going to shift most of the work there and then report back to
Okay.
the monthly meetings.
I'm very happy to be involved in that. So there's two of us.
No,
can
we
do-
all, last meeting,
Yeah.
we three, it's
Okay.
ours. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Did I? We meet next Monday.
This is what minutes are for.
Okay.
Without
I
minutes.
don't have a problem.
Okay.
Uh-oh,
so when would
now
be your
what?
budget time?
Would you rather do it after dinner time or before? 'Cause a meeting like that could go a while.
Or we can do it Mondays if you want.
But it's-
Okay, that's what I said.
Oh, okay. I must have-
During the day would be fine.
Yeah, I'm actually free in the day on Mondays.
So do we want to do morning?
Yeah,
Fine with me.
I'd rather do it earlier in the day.
All right, 9 AM.
Yeah, it's fine by me.
9 AM.
Sure, so we should meet someplace, we should not
Yeah.
be
We
trying
can meet here.
or my house, whatever.
I'd rather meet at your house.
All right, so at your
Well, I
house,
meet at my house, I
Or
don't have
yours,
to go.
or
anywhere.
mine, you know. we can-
my
Yeah.
dining room is set up with all my electronics, so.
Okay, so my house, so we just have to, I have to look, I did not bring my calendar, so
Okay, but you'll confirm with us, it stands right
So,
now,
like-
9 o'clock at your place. on
Nine-
it's coming Monday?
Yes,
9 o'clock on Monday.
Okay, Monday though, what does that make it, Henry?
The date,
Yeah.
well, I'll tell you in a minute. Monday's the 15th.
It is. I was gonna say the 15th and I thought, I can't.
Okay.
But it is.
Yeah, that's the Martin Luther King Day, if that matters. Not to
To
me,
me,
I mean, in the sense that I don't have anything planned. All right, so.
No, I don't have anything planned
yeah, is that a problem for anybody that it's a holiday?
No,
No.
no.
Okay.
okay,
usually Mondays and Thursdays, I'm usually, if I'm gonna have an empty day, Mondays or Thursdays.
so on the subject of the preserve, I'm just gonna hit a couple of high points. One is, and then some of them will come back later. At our last meeting, we sort of said, well, how much can we do and when can we do it? And that we need to get the boundaries decided, the survey done, and maybe some work on trails, but that maybe that's all we can do this year. And the next night was the County Conservation Commission's meeting, and I mentioned that we were thinking of not feeling in a rush about doing all the work that needs to be done to put it under a conservation easement. And three of them jumped on me and said, you really want to do it as promptly as you can, because don't count on continuing to have a supportive town and select board. Right now you have one, but some of them have run into the situation, fortunately, after they put land into preservation, of people not being happy about that. And in Owl's Head, Catherine said that there'd been a time when they needed to raise money to work on the waterfront. And they said, well, do we have any land that we can sell to raise the money to do it?
Yeah.
And they had to be reminded about the easement and that was not an option before they backed off. So you just memories are short.
Oh, people don't pay any attention when you tell
Yeah.
What?
them.
Right.
All right, I'd
Okay.
like to comment. So I agree with you, and I think, we definitely, I think, want to put that money into conservation, but it's just part of the process.
Yeah.
And, hopefully at our meeting, we will identify the
Once-
process
once
and the
we start-
timeline.
Oh, absolutely.
And
the
then,
budget.
and try to cost every step.
Right.
Mhm.
And then, obviously, whatever money we raise goes to with the step one, step two in that sequence. So it's not that we don't want to do it, it's just that there are more urgent things that we need to do first. And if we're lucky enough to raise money to do the surveying and that allows us to get a grant, obviously, the objective of putting the land in conservation can be part of the grant request. So I don't think we're forgetting it. It's just that we can't start with that.
Oh, no, we can't start with that, but what they were saying is,
It's important.
and it's important to move as quickly as we can.
And I think we're all in agreement.
Yeah, okay.
And don't we have to have a clear idea of the boundaries?
Oh, yes,
In
that
order
is,
to do that and in
Yeah.
order
oh, yeah.
to do
There-
any
If there's
grant.
this chicken
That's
and
why we're
egg
talking
problem.
survey
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we'll start putting together on Monday and then bring it into a meeting and hash it out again, and then we can start presenting that to the select body, say that this is the timeline that we're beginning to look at. Here's how it
And the
works.
needs and, and the plan.
So connected with that, I know Leslie, you and John have done a lot of, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, yep.
Okay, good. Done a
Yes,
lot of
yes.
already walking the land and looking for
Yeah.
boundaries, and so on. I would like to ask that you start immediately and also go back and try to log all the hours you put in, because I think that should count as
Oh, yes, that's right. Yep.
your work.
And by the way, Sandra,
Hours put in.
and by the way, John did try to call you back, but there was no answer.
We've had power problems, so yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, of course. That's probably why. Anyway.
We'll just keep playing phone tag till we connect.
Yeah, okay. Yes, and we will start logging in because we did, we walked at least 3 times for 4 hours at least, I'd say. So it's actually kind of fun.
From the beginning, and we get hold of Don Prothero, who's done a lot of that too. And
Yeah.
he's, no, that counts.
He knows the land very well, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
but it's the time, because we
Right.
can put a price on that and call it matching for grants.
Yeah, yes, yep, yep.
Oh.
We will, yep.
You said you've started a folder to keep those receipts and stuff in, you said.
Yeah, I just spent $30 getting copies of the surveys made, and I'm sitting there thinking how best to make sure that that can be counted toward match as well. So some of these things, I think we're going to need to create an account for the preserve. And further down today's agenda is budget. And of course, up till now, the Conservation Commission's budget has been, $500, disappears in the rounding. But I think the costs for the preserve need to be somewhere on the town's budget, and maybe they need to be part of this, a separate box in the Conservation Commission budget
For the preserve.
for the preserve. At the county commission's meeting, Al's had pointed out that they haven't worked, because they're responsible for the Plaisted Preserve. They've worked out an arrangement with the town so that money that goes into the account for Plaisted rolls over at the end of the year. It does not go back to surplus if they don't spend it, with the understanding that unexpected expenses may come up, like they've had storms and had to hire people to cut up trees.
It's like a reserve fund.
Yeah,
Right, so that we, I think, need to talk to the select board about creating one for the preserve. And we need to start thinking about how much money needs to go into it, and talk about, okay, we can try and raise donations. If there was a reserve fund and it was also something that people could make donations to, we just all go into a pot, and we could hold on to it, and we could count it for match.
I think,
Yeah.
I agree with you, but I think it needs to be kept separate and kept for fundraising. You don't want to,
Separate from what?
well, like
part of the budget.
the budget, like for the running expenses, because we need to keep a separate tally for any expenses that can be justifiably.
Well, I'm talking about a separate account for the preserve,
Right.
separate, not, it doesn't go in with our,
Well, but you said something that kind of contradict. I mean, the way I
No.
understood it, you said
No.
it was coming out of the budget and stuff, and no, it's.
it will be in the whole big town budget. There's
Yeah,
a
on the
budget for
balance
the
sheets,
town.
on the balance sheets, but.
Whatever
not
you
in the,
call it. That whole big thing that the budget committee decides on, which has account after account after account. And I think there needs to be an account probably under the Conservation Commission for preserve, just like under fire department, there's a. bunch of
Yeah,
different
we
accounts.
agree, we agree, we understand.
Okay, but I don't think we're slowly figuring out what we need to do, what questions we need to ask, and that's one that just came to mind. I'm not sure there's anything,
But
oh,
same
and I
thing,
did,
we can need to keep a separate spreadsheet to keep track of the hours. So anything
Right.
that's off the books, but still can be counted, for grant purposes.
Right.
So
Mhm.
it's our
Yeah.
responsibility to keep that.
Yeah, she has,
Yeah.
started
Yeah,
just a place to keep receipts for that. I went up and.
well, very
cut
little of
tree
it, I
down.
mean, a lot of
Three
it
hours,
is just
whatever it is,
legwork.
Would that be in the same as the money we've got, like that $500 and something dollars?
No, it would be separate from that.
The hours,
Wait,
But you know, here's the thing,
first
We're-
guys, Theo, surprisingly, has had her hand up.
Oh.
What a way to go. What did you want to say?
I was gonna say that Friends of Maine Coast Islands
Yes,
has a sheet that they keep in the break room where every volunteer comes in, and when they work on something, they put down what they worked on, what hours. And that actually ends up in the annual report. So if we did the same thing, where we passed a clipboard at each meeting,
Mhm.
and you write down, what did you work on? How many hours did you work on it? And if you had any out-of-pocket expenses, that same sheet could just capture that all in one place.
Okay,
I
it's a
wonder
good
if we
idea.
can count hours spent in these meetings working on.
Yeah.
All right.
And then you see that I want to make the case of your $30, even though you can be, so that's the whole point, like, I think you can be refunded out of the budget, but at the same time, this is an expense that's directly related to the preserve. So that expense is open for reimbursement from a grant part.
Right,
You know, so the town is going to pay you the $30 so that you're not out of pocket. But at the same time, you know, this
What do
30,
they pay me out of? Are they gonna pay me
the
out?
budget, we have a $500.
Well, that's what I want to look into. Maybe I shouldn't take it out of. I don't have any choice this year, but maybe there should be a different pot of money that reimburses somebody who goes and spends money to coffee surveys. I mean, I don't want to get into the weeds of this meeting, but we need to understand. And this is all stuff we hadn't needed to have a clue about until now.
yeah. Well, we should have a handle on it by the end of Monday. Well, I mean, it just strikes me as step one, it strikes me as step.
Yeah, we'll have it all solved.
Oh, I didn't
by
think-
noon
I
on
didn't think we
Monday.
backed up, we just have a handle on it.
And the rest of the pot still needs to be
Yeah,
constructed.
it does. I mean, I have been involved in land issues very similar to what we're talking about right now. And by the time you really get into breaking trails and doing stuff like that, it takes 3 years of municipal planning. But the trick is don't stop, you know, and because it gets boring after 7 or 8 months. And all you've got is a few more words to add. It does, you know, it's not particularly easy to keep it going for 3 years.
All right. I think I just as soon leave everything else to our Monday meeting
Yes.
and then come back and make a report
Yep.
to this group. Which is, has remarkably similar personnel, but anyway. All right. Next thing on old business is dark skies. And all I have to report to you there is that the county group spent quite a amount of time talking about it and then set up a group to make a plan. What they're now thinking about on Dark Skies is having a series of programs. One of them could be the film and a discussion. One of them could be a speaker, like Dr. Garrettson, the astronomer from Lincolnville, or somebody else. There could be kind of a hands-on program, maybe geared for kids or other ages, that would talk about, here's the impact of light pollution on insects, on plants, on birds and mammals, on whatever. So that they're thinking of setting up a series that would go every couple months through 2024. So they'll be meeting that smaller group this month, and then we'll have more to report, hopefully. There could also be a program in the warmer months outdoors where you actually go out and see what you can see if the sky is dark enough. And probably they'd welcome suggestions for other programs. But on the one hand, it's grown, but I think not grown to the unmanageable stage, and it could be an interesting series.
Yeah, you'll pick up a lot of people interested in astronomy, will be very involved with that.
Ah.
And as part of our sort of lecture series, we're trying to get going, if they needed the space to put on a lecture, we've got a nice place to do it. Stuff like that, so, I mean, I look at it this way, is as a conservation commission member, I'm all in favor of it. But it's not about us writing an ordinance. That strikes me actually as a planning board issue, because it's like when you're building a parking lot and you're gonna put in lighting, you gotta get approved, and that's all gonna go through the planning board, but support from the conservation commission would be important. So as far as you getting back in touch with them, I'm all in favor of trying to work with them.
Oh, we already agreed
Okay,
in principle last meeting that
Okay.
we were in favor of
Yep.
proceeding. So, and there's lots of eager people getting involved in it, and Rebecca Jacobs has said she's for one that's part of her job is organizing programs, program series. So
yeah,
they got very excited about it, and I expect great progress.
wonderful.
Okay,
We shall see.
that takes care of old business, yes. New business budget, and we sort of already sidestepped into that. The budget, you know, the part of the budget we've had before is, you know, kind of cut and dried and tiny and no big deal. I think, again, the Monday meeting we'll have to start talking about what needs to be added to the town budget for the preserve. So. I
Well,
don't think we could-
other than that, the amount of money we asked for last year, is there any reason not to ask for? It's like.
Well, I don't think we used most of it.
Yeah.
We used the 100 for the Maine Association of Conservation Commissions.
Yeah. And we paid for some signs, I paid for some other ones I never.
Yeah,
said.
we exhausted the budget last.
No. We exhausted the 2020,
The year before,
but we haven't, the 2023-24 budget, which is still ongoing. We have spent very little out of it. If you have, Henry, things to submit, I would do it, because we need, that helps demonstrate that we actually need funding.
okay,
And same thing, your $30 here.
Well, maybe, yeah, I mean, it's, the 30 is vanishingly small, so it's not a big
It's
deal,
not
but
the
I would
point.
like to know how in future money I spend can be tracked and counted and used as match for grants. So I just didn't want to throw away that opportunity. But it's $30. It's no big deal.
No, $30 is $30.
I know, I really, makes sense. Yeah, you know, we do have expenses in there, legitimate.
Yeah, so maybe I just
I would do it.
Yeah.
put it in
I'll
this
dig
year.
up my receipt.
Good.
Yeah.
No, they won't give you the money if you don't spend it.
That's right.
That's
Yeah, well,
right. That's
I've
right.
been, I understand
Yeah,
that
yeah,
philosophy,
yeah,
but I look at it's all tax dollars, you know, it's all somebody's money.
Well,
Yeah, but you don't wanna have to go and beg for it after they decide they can cut it.
Yeah, that's right.
right, but I think there's gonna be substantial costs for the preserve. As the folks at the county meeting pointed out, it again is vanishingly small compared to the 4 million or so they're trying to raise for the new building. So from that standpoint, we could say, you know, we're not a big deal, you should just fund us. How that goes.
Yeah, I don't know how many meetings I've been to where they book $164,000 in 3.5 minutes, but they come up with $187 bill. They can spend an hour and a half on that one. It's the kind of money I can put my head around, you know, it's
That's,
$200.
yeah, that's what somebody, commentator said, they pick apart these little ones because a small mind can get around that.
Yeah. Put it that way.
Well, that commentator did.
That's how,
So, again, we're just gonna kick budget more or less down the road unless anybody wants to.
I mean, overall,
Dive deeply
the
into
point
it.
being, yes, I'll submit the receipt, I'll dig it up and
Yeah.
I'll submit it, but the
Okay.
other point being is that pretty much it's gonna be identical to last year's budget.
Yes, and then that's, at least we need to get on going on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but last year. 22, 23, we did manage to spend it all, and this year we're nowhere close.
Yes.
But
Well, we
it's
still
really
have
an
a few
idea to
months to
spend,
go,
yes,
so.
and a few hundred to spend, so. Okay,
Yeah, we have almost half a year.
Well, because part of what we put in for the budget was for. Paying lectures and stuff, people coming in for a stipend, and stuff like that, and.
right, and if. This dark skies thing gets off the ground, there may be some expenses, like we'd have to rent the film if we wanna do that.
Right,
But we'll spread it 6 ways, so our share won't be.
right,
But I don't know what all they have in mind and what expenses.
Okay.
It's certainly. Paying our share of that would help, justify the budget.
and when's the fiscal year end?
The end of June.
End of
End
June,
of June, okay,
But the meetings
that's what I
are
thought, yeah.
2 months before. When do the committee meetings start?
Yeah.
they're gonna start soon, but nobody's gotten on my case yet. And, right, is. What we can do to justify our little budget. Would be good.
Good.
Then there's the springing on them this whole big new idea that one
Let's
would hope
talk about all this
somebody's
on
been
Monday.
thinking about.
Yep.
Right, okay. So next is report from the county working group meeting. And I was just going to hit some highlights, that either would interest us or might concern us. Hamden's report, noted this, horror story that was worthy of making several, yellow press papers in the UK. A summer resident decided that the neighbor's trees were blocking their ocean view, their bay view, whatever. And so first they suggested to the neighbor that they take them down. The neighbor was uninterested in doing that, so they poisoned them.
Really?
Yeah,
But that was a
Yeah.
couple. No?
well, I'm not sure when it happened. All the uproar was recent. It turned out that they had used a pesticide or a herbicide banned in Maine. They brought it from their home in Missouri, which didn't ban it. And not only did it poison the 2 oak trees they were aiming at, but it leached into the groundwater, the soil, and managed to kill a number of other trees as well. So they were in deep kimchi with the EPA and the DEP and the town of Camden.
Wow.
Turned out that the DEP could only fine them like $4,500 or something ridiculous. There was just
Oh.
not enough bite in their statutes. But the town, using its shoreline
Ordinance.
Protection.
ordinance,
Yeah.
was able to fine them something like 400,000. And then the homeowner sued, and they had to pay something in the millions.
Wow.
Good.
Yeah, to
And paint their windows.
remove all the damaged poison stuff, to remove all the soil that was poisoned, to replace it, and to winch in mature trees to replace the ones that had been
That's the best part.
filled.
Wow.
So, anyway, so they said, if any horrible thing like that happens to you folks, please get in touch with Camden and we'll walk you through what you can do.
All right.
Anyway, I looked it up. Sure enough, it is in the Daily Mail.
Wow.
Hate the news in England.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on to less exciting stuff. They also said that they're watching a bunch of grant opportunities, and they and Lincolnville have created some lists of grants and timetables for application, which I have to track down and remind them they were going to share with us all. But we should probably look at that. when
Oh,
it
nice.
comes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Save us some time. Yeah, we can get that for Monday.
Yeah,
Right.
that's gonna be the beauty of this group, if we can start sharing experience.
Right.
And it is starting to work that way.
Beautiful.
So then, Dragon Cement. Thomaston Conservation Commission hadn't any much news to report, but I had gotten a call from a woman in Port Clyde who somehow got the idea that I had created a group that was looking into the pollution created by Dragon Cement. Well, I'm not. But, and she'd also gotten in touch with the Conservation Commission folks in St. George. But John Fancy's successor in Thomaston is looking into what's in the water, what has come out of Dragon into the St. George and into several other rivers and into the groundwater, the soil, and is it getting into people's wells? All of that is going to need to be looked into. And it's not just in Thomaston, it's down the whole
Yeah.
watershed. It's going to be a mess. The Thomaston Conservation Commission had heard that the expectation is that it will take 10 years to decontaminate, decommission, tear down the facility. And then Rebecca Jacobs from Camden said, well, if our experience with the old tannery here is anything like that, they're well into their 20, second decade. I mean, at least it's more than probably third decade, 20 years and more.
Yeah.
And it's still not all resolved.
Which case is that?
The tannery, there was a
The
tannery.
tannery, yeah.
Yeah,
in
in
Camden, yeah.
Camden, yeah, my 40-something-year-old granddaughter was a toddler when I first started following that.
Shade. Anyway, so, people were just holding their heads, but I think that's probably accurate. Then I've already mentioned that Owl's Head has a reserve account for their preserve, and they're also now looking into how would they create an endowment. So a permanent endowment or a Friends of the Preserve or something, looking to when this current group is no longer with us and hopefully the preserve is. And that's another thing we need to be thinking about, not tomorrow, but it's just one of those in the big picture, the kinds of things you need to do to actually make the protection last. They also mentioned, have any of you ever gone on their pumpkin walk?
No.
In October, they have a pumpkin walk. They get about 125 pumpkins and a bunch of volunteers carve them, and then they light them and set them along a trail, a loop trail, I think, through the preserve. And at the end of the trail is if you'd like to donate, and they raise about $500 to $700 a year. So sounds like a fun thing to do. And I got to wondering about how much they spend on the pumpkins. But anyway.
Well, maybe every volunteer would buy their own pumpkin.
A BYO pumpkin.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of a cool idea, though.
Yeah, I saw some pictures on their website. It looks like a fun thing to do. You might think if there's anything to do.
Something that's not pumpkins, but does the same thing for us.
No Easter eggs.
Um,
I mean, big Easter eggs.
Yeah. First thing that came to my mind was, what do you call those? It's Spanish where you have the fire in the
Luminarias.
bag, luminaries. But in the wintertime, you can't count on anything being able to happen.
Right, and instead of snow, you get rain.
Yes.
And it's anything that involves fire, again, is a
Mhm.
risk.
Yes,
Well,
yes,
they're pretty
course.
safe because they're
you can fake.
they're paper bags, but they're full of sand and you just
Yeah.
put it in the sand.
Tea lights too, you don't have to actually put like lighted, you know. tea
Oh,
lights.
these
Oh,
those
the cars
LED,
too, right?
yes, LED
Yeah,
batteries.
I've seen those.
They look like they're flames, but they're not.
It's
You can
true,
use those
it's true.
things that they use when they're doing everybody hold up a candle thing and you just twist
Yeah.
them and they all come on.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Oh,
they're
yeah.
called.
Yeah. I know what you're talking
Okay.
I'm kind of interested in keeping that one in the minutes under, continuing business. No, I think
Okay,
it's a great
I'm
idea.
just reporting things, people, that I thought you guys might be interested in.
Yeah, that's worth
Um,
continuing to think about.
And some of it I've already got into, like Dark Skies and their reaction to what we had to say on timing on all the work we have to do on the preserve. Then St. George gave their report, which interacted with ours in a couple of ways. They are just about done with the Fort Point Trail. They're planning on having what they called a soft opening where people are invited to walk the trail and give them feedback on what they might still need to do. And then they plan for a grand opening sometime this spring. And they had a crew of Boy Scouts or something volunteering for some of the last bits of work. And the first Boy Scout looked at the trail and said, "This will be great for dirt bikes." Ken went right out and bought signs to put up banning all wheeled contraptions. So he was very interested in our report on everything we've been doing to try to deal with ATVs. So in our report, I told them what we'd learned, that you can put up signs anytime, but until you have an ordinance, you can't take any enforcement action. And before you can do an ordinance, you need to have the town meeting agree to it. So another thing that we have on our plate. Also there, John Noor in St. George is doing a monthly series of articles in their monthly, think about it, town newsletter online. We should live so long, but anyway, so he did a whole year's worth on invasive plants. Now he's going back through and doing invasive insects. And all these articles are on St. George website if we want to look them up, which included some very interesting information. His latest article is on emerald ash borer, and he's got information, which I think is fairly new, on a really effective process of pesticide control, where they have actually managed to beat them back. I think somewhere in the Midwest. And also, they are looking at a situation that sounds a lot like us, where they would like to purchase some land to put into conservation, and they would like to get a land for Maine's Future grant to pay for it. And the landowner does not want to wait to sell. So they may be, I was able to say, well, our experience is this is what you have to do to preserve your opportunity to even apply for a land for Maine's Future grant in case you really get up this creek. And the final thing discussed, which is, more planning needed, was noting that Annette Nagel has at the time of the meeting was about to, but has now retired. And every single Knox County Conservation Commission feels deeply in her debt for all the help she gave. Several of us went to the dinner for her and Alvin, and they listed the astonishing acreage that she has managed to help put into conservation. But it was suggested that maybe the Knox County Conservation Commissions would want to do something to express our appreciation to her. I mean, whether it's a gift certificate to a garden center or whether it's some event, whatever, that's
Yeah.
sort of, you know, not to be continued, but certainly a nice thought. So that was sort of it. And then on to letter of support for Main Trails bond. Did you folks have time to look at that?
What's that?
Yes.
Ken sent around he noted that there is on the small agenda for the legislature, the second session, a Main Trails bond, LD 1156, would invest 30 million over 4 years in design, development, and maintenance of motorized, non-motorized, and multi-use trails. And a whole bunch of towns and entities and so on have supported it. And he just sent it around asking us to see if our towns would be interested in adding our support. So that would be not us, but we'd have to write a letter to the select board saying we'd recommend if that's what we would want to do.
I have no problem with that as a conservation commission member.
I think Ken sent that to every member. of
He
the-
sent it
of the
to,
Conservation Board.
he sent it to the working group. So, and then
he didn't
I sent it to,
Then you send it to.
then I sent it to our members.
Yeah, you should have gotten it, Kathy.
Do you want to do?
I can send it again.
Oh, okay.
But
There were two attachments. One was
I mean,
the,
just from the face of it, it sounds like a great initiative, so,
Well,
you know.
yeah,
I mean, it's state money and
Yeah.
we could get someone, we might not, but I'm not particularly opposed to that kind of money.
Yeah,
Leslie, did you say something?
No, I yawned. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, we're not sufficient.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well,
So when do they
So-
need the letter to the select, or
They-
from the town, rather?
well, the session has started, so soon, I would think, if we're gonna do this.
Do you mind writing a letter to
Oh.
the selectmen?
Oh, there's already a letter, right? All I'd have to do is say attached is a proposed letter. I mean, if the letter to the legislature's already written,
Okay,
and they're just asking if we'd like, this goes on for 4 more pages that I
Mhm.
didn't print out.
I'll do a vote of the board in the sense that the board is unanimous and it's support of this.
Yeah, I
Not-
would, I just didn't know if Catherine felt ready. or-
no, yeah, I'm ready, I read the
Okay.
title. so-
Okay.
Alright.
Oh, speed reading.
Well, I make a motion that the commission write a letter to the selectmen stating that we're fully in support of LL. Whatever. the-
LD 1156.
LD
and we would
1156.
We
like
recommend
to-
that
our-
the town-
We would
Yeah.
recommend that the town sign on. to
Yeah.
the- Okay, I'll
That's a
second
motion.
it.
That's a motion, I second it.
Okay, Catherine seconds.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Alright.
Okay, unanimous. All right. So we are on to the item that Theo wanted to add.
Thank you. Actually resurrect. Because
Oh,
I brought this up last year and then I got sick and I couldn't do anything about it, but I'd like to go back to the idea of a series of workshops for the town people. And this would be something we'd organize and so on. And if you remember, the topics were to reuse, repair, recycle. And I've been giving this a lot of thought, and repair is difficult because you have to get somebody to show other people how to repair something.
Right,
There's some, issues about that. The low hanging fruit, I think, is reviews. And so I just would like you to consider, maybe we can talk about it at the next meeting. If we did a And this is a fun, you know, winter when you can't get outside, it's a good thing to get the Conservation Commission presenting something. And it would work like this or any, you know, ideas you might have, but it's like a yard sale, but it's not, there's no money changing hands. People are invited to bring in something that's in good condition that they don't need anymore.
Right,
And to just have tables, and everybody who comes in and brings an item goes on the table and they get a chip. And then if they bring in 2 or 3, we can figure out how to handle that. So I bring in a platter, you know, in good condition, I put it on the table, I get a chip. And then I can walk around and look at what other people brought in and say, oh, I'd like to have that. So I turn my chit in for the thing they brought that they don't want, and I take it home. And it's a way to recycle things that are going to be reused at practically no cost. And even if it doesn't work, it's something different from trail work and something that might attract members of the community that wouldn't come to some of our other events. So I'm just saying I'm willing to try to work on this if the commissioners think it's worth following up on.
I think it's a good initiative, so. I mean, I don't know how much help you need, and that's the key at this point. I don't have any time to do it.
Yeah, I don't think it would be really hard. It's just publicizing it and getting permission, and I assume we do it at the big button building.
yeah,
You know, where there's more room. And you know, it seems like.
But you need to work out the details.
Yeah.
What happens if nobody picks up what you brought? Are you gonna take it back?
Salvation Army,
Okay.
Salvation Army. 'Cause
Right, right, you could take everything that wasn't claimed.
Yeah, to the Salvation Army,
Oh.
and you know, that's. All the way.
well, in the sense, it's like Earth Day in the sense that the problem is getting enough people to show up in the first place.
Yeah, and you
Right.
don't know until you
Yeah.
try it, that's the whole
Right.
thing.
You pick a Saturday between Groundhog's Day and St. Patrick's Day, maybe.
Yeah, because the library's pretty busy on Saturdays, which isn't a bad thing, because there's that whole other
Because
room.
there's yeah,
There'll be people there anyways, and so,
Well,
It's
they
like one of the
managed to
places
hold
to
the
promote
health
it.
fair on a Saturday.
Hmm?
They managed to hold the health fair on a Saturday.
You know, they've got the coffee thing. that's
oh, it's a whole
really
other room
well.
now, yeah.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying, a lot of people come in for
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
coffee thing.
Yeah.
And so if you're running your event either during that time or after, where a lot of people are already in the building.
Yeah.
It might, you know, make it easier for people to participate, and if potentially the first time we do it, it wouldn't be a big turnout. but
So it's like
just a big
potluck, you know,
truck.
food, right?
Yes, it would be like that, it's not.
right, you put potluck with them.
And the big thing is that, you know, even if this is not this huge success, it's taking the conservation commission to the community,
Right,
people who aren't really all about trails and, you know, that kind of.
right, and then if we do have something on the table with dark skies or something like that, it's a chance to do a little bit of advertising.
Yeah, that's what else we do. So anyway, I'm just throwing that out there, and, you know, if you think it's a good idea, like I say, I'm willing to work on it.
So as,
Maybe you should.
Go ahead.
Oh. I was just thinking of the dates, if you give a little more lead time,
Well,
So, like-
it's totally flexible.
right, so, but you were thinking like February or what?
No, probably not that soon.
Okay,
No, but I'm just saying, before people go away for this, you know, or get involved in summer activities. I mean, there's lots to do in the summer. Trail work can be done in the summer. I'm trying to find something in intervening
There's-
months where there's
Yeah.
really not a lot to do.
One of the 2 last Saturdays in March,
Okay,
I.
or the
throw
first in
that out.
April, I mean, yeah.
Well, things. start
The
to
first
pick up in
Saturday in April is March.
well, we can look at that.
But I mean, you're working on towards Earth Day when you
Right, true
start
enough, yeah.
talking about April.
But we could publicize Earth Day
The
at your
six-
table, at
Yeah.
your event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Well, so
16th
I like your point's good, so one of the last Saturdays.
Yeah,
Saturdays in March,
That's time to get it all organized.
Right.
We talked to Penny about you know, being able to have it in the building yeah, great. Okay. So the action item is, I'll talk to Penny.
There's three of them there, 16, 23, and 30.
Well, only two after St. Patrick.
Yeah, after St. Patrick. Yeah. I have a great aunt turning 100 on St. Patrick's Day.
Oh my gosh.
So, until the next,
Sorry, it has nothing to do with anything except that I can't talk about St. Patrick's Day
without
without
thinking of a 100-year-old aunt.
coming up in my head.
Yeah.
So until the next meeting, you don't need anything else particularly from other board members at this point.
No, I think at the next meeting, which is in February, obviously, and it's gonna, you know, but we just come in and either it's go or don't go.
Right, and then,
Yeah, and I.
Wanna
and I think
advertise in the
Penny says,
paper.
okay, The state would work, and, you know, and
okay,
you guys can think about it.
yeah,
Because I mean, we don't have to provide anything except publicize, and we're not gathering the items and anything.
right,
Everybody brings in their thing.
yeah.
You need tables and stuff, you need to
No,
set up the
that's set
setup,
up.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, Penny,
Yeah. Set up, write down, and then disposing of anything that's left on the table.
That's just like a cleanup.
Yeah, it's easy,
She knows all about that.
it's easy enough, yeah.
So,
We just throw it out the side of the road and we can pick it up and hurt it.
all right, so good. So I will talk to her about the feasibility of it and we'll think about the dates and make a decision in February.
Okay,
Okay. That concludes the agenda
Right.
hearing no objection.
without objection. It's adjourned at 5:50.
Thank you very much.
I'm meeting in February.
Stay warm and safe, you guys.
And dry would be.
This is what I noticed is that when you first came on, you had sunlight behind you and it's pitch dark here.
Yeah, no, it's not down yet. It's the sun is setting now, I think.
You haven't looked at the
Yeah,
pictures west end
Yeah,
of the non-snow.
yeah. It's not terribly warm, but it was 60 today, which is nice.
Yeah.
That's floating away.
floating and being washed up by, I think it came from the island off the Crockett Beach there or one of
I'm gonna
those.
head out, guys. Good night.
Next time.
Looks like something off the island.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I didn't see
Yeah,
that.
Maureen showed it to me, so I don't know where she found it,
Yeah,
but she
I don't know how
said,
to get out of here, Lovejoy. How do I get out? I'll leave, I guess.
Oh, we need to.
It was on Facebook, the month and you link, you know, oh no, the second Wednesday of the month, there's a meeting, so like February.
Okay.
It's Valentine's Day.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I'll see you Monday, 9 o'clock.